All right, so today we are going to talk about scholarly journals and how you can do some scholarly research. Now, we have already talked about using credible sources. You should know a little bit about how to tell if something's credible sources. But I'm going to use my example topic of Elbridge Gerry for the Leadership and Legacy National History Day project as an example of how you can do scholarly research. Now, what I have up here is the traditional thing that we would look for when we were trying to find out about a topic. Elbridge Gerry is someone we want to research, and very naturally we go to Google, which I love Google, and we type in Elbridge Gerry, okay? Um, and you will find some sources, some credible, some not credible. Um, you have Wikipedia, we know we can't trust that. Um, we have ushistory.org. That might very well be something that we could use. Um, it looks like there's something about the US Senate that if it's a .gov, it's almost always um, reliable. Um, archives.gov is always a reliable source for you. So there's some stuff here that you can use, but you need to make sure that you're using a credible source. Now, I'm going to provide a link that you do not need to watch, but if you would like to watch it, I'm talking about checking the credibility of a source. And essentially what it's going to say is there's five topics that you need to cover, okay? There's authority, who wrote it, how credible are they, how much authority do they have, what's their background in research, objectivity, is it not biased, right? I don't know if I can show you the whole sheet. There's quality, how well is it produced? There's, let's see. There's currency and there's relevancy. And I like this video because all of those are things to take into consideration before you ever accept a website or any source that you're using, okay? Currency and finally relevance. Even if you have a really great source, if it's not relevant to your topic, um, you don't need to use it. So we need to sift through all of the abundance of the internet and come to the things that are very reliable, okay? So I went to Google, this is what came up. I could go through and try to find something, but what I want you guys to start using is Google Scholar. Now, I talked to you in class about what scholarly journals are. If you weren't there, if you don't know what a scholarly journal is, essentially the scholarly journal is the academic platform from which academics publish their works. It's the way that professors talk to one another on new findings. It's the way that archaeologists, every kind of professional academic shares their information, okay? It also has to do with whether that person is in government or whatever else. So when you usually get into a scholarly journal, you have to pay for it. And when you get to university, your tuition will cover the cost of you getting into what's called a database. And a database is basically your subscription to a whole bunch of scholarly journals, okay? But in the meantime, we have to find how to find the free ones. And when you use a database, like you will someday, you'll learn special techniques about using uh, that resource. However, for right now, if you go to scholar.google.com or google.com/scholar, you will come up to a resource that gives you only scholarly resources. All of these sources are acceptable for you to use during any research project. The thing is that you need to, one, sift through those that are relevant and not relevant to your topic, and B, you need to actually get access to them because this is a bunch of previews and you don't always have the ability to access the sources. So we need to kind of come up with a way in which to do that. So what you'll see is I typed in Elbridge Gerry here, just the same as I did in Google. You have some choices. You can find articles or case law. Okay, you can also save citations and come back to it. You also have some ways to look at it, but you're going to want to look at scholarly journals. We're not looking at case law right now. That's for another project, okay? So I put in Elbridge Gerry. Now, looking through here, do I find anything really useful? A coupled level set and volume of fluid method. Whoa, that does not sound like anything I want. I'm looking at all this stuff. Operator schedule. Ooh, this is not so great. Oh, look, there's a citation. Oh, but that's just something that other people cited. I could click on related articles. History and traditions. None of this is looking super significant to me right now. Something that actually has his name in the title, Gentleman Democrat. Now I want you to see how to interact with a scholarly journal. JSTOR used to be entirely free and now it's not. But you will usually, JSTOR is a great resource because you can log in. I did this. You can get a free, if you click here, you can log in and you can get a free account and you'll get up to 3 items in your shelf and you can have those, you have to keep those uh, journal articles for 2 weeks and then you can get new ones. So you want to be really careful about the ones you're picking. Now, what I want you to see is some scholarly journals will have what's called an abstract, which is basically a summary of what they cover, very much like the back of a novel tells you information, except an abstract doesn't really leave things. It's not like trying to hook you with something fascinating and make you wonder. It basically summarizes what is covered in that source. Some do not. So you get a preview and you can check really quickly if this is something useful for you. Elbridge Gerry, Gentleman Democrat. Okay, Thomas Jefferson records in his diary a not uncommon experience of his lifelong friend Elbridge Gerry. It was at a time when Jefferson was Secretary of State and Gerry a member of Congress for Massachusetts. They put their heads together and decided that Mr. Secretary's Hamilton's liaisons with Congress must be broken. A Republican virtue would be sapped by Treasury influence and corrupted by finance. Shortly after, Hamilton's friends in the House again proposed asking him for information to prompt one of those masterly reports on public credit that made Mr. Secretary Jefferson wince. There was an animated debate and a close vote in which Jefferson's party had the small end and in which he sadly records Gerry changed sides. Ooh, Gerry changed sides. That was what Elbridge Gerry was always doing. He was, to be sure, a steadfast Whig, and so I don't know what a Whig is, but in the Revolution, and a loyal American always. But beyond that, no one could predict what side he would take on a given question. And before some questions were decided, he had argued himself around the circle. In the Continental Congress, he often voted to support Washington, yet defended the mutinous Conway. During the critical period, he blew hot for a stronger union and grew cold on second thought. Okay, so I'm seeing a little bit. I think this will be a really good resource for me. So I might go on and log into JSTOR and save this. However, I want to show you a trick. I don't know the title of this article. If you go back to general Google, a lot of times you can find these articles. So if I say Elbridge Gerry, ooh, excuse me, Gentleman Democrat. Oh, look right there. Oh, that's JSTOR. Now let's look. I can buy it. There's a book on it, so I can read part of the book. Is the same one? Oh, no, not what I want. Okay, maybe I need to get this one on JSTOR. Okay, so that's what you're gonna find. However, excuse me. A lot of times you can find your articles on Google. So let's go back to our thing. Now, I have decided, instead of just putting Elbridge Gerry, I'm going to get a little bit more specific for Google Scholar, and I'm going to put Elbridge Gerry Legacy. Look, right here, James Madison and the Bill of Rights, a reluctant paternity, the almost rise and not quite fall of the political gerrymander. This looks like something really useful. I read that gerrymandering was a act created by Elbridge Gerry. Okay, it even says, what is his lizard-like legacy? Whoa, he gave us gerrymander. So I think this is a really good source. I'm going to come here. And this is what you're going to find, is this is what's traditional. You have to pay to read one of these sources, but it does have an introduction. So I can read the introduction and I can decide, is this a really good source that I want to hunt after? I think it is, so I'm going to do the same thing back here. I'm going to kind of try to get in here. The almost rise and what was it? Where was it? And not quite fall. And not quite fall of the political gerrymander. Does it say gerrymandering? Nope. Oh, look at this. If I click here, I have the whole source as a PDF. So now, even though at this site, what does it want me to pay? It wants me to pay $30 to get a subscription here, right? I don't want to get a subscription. I just went back to Google, typed in the title, and found a PDF. You see this? I have the whole resource now for free. I can go ahead and save this. I want to show you what 20 minutes of going through scholarly journals and looking in this way found me. Okay? First of all, I came to a list of sites that were really good. Okay? Some of them I could have found on Google. Several of them I could not have. I found things on archives.com or .gov. If you can find anything on .gov, you can use it as a reliable source. So, a founding father in dissent, Elbridge Gerry helped inspire Bill of Rights in his opposition to the Constitution. Awesome. What I found is too, as I was reading, what it says is, a large extent of the story of the Constitutional Convention and Elbridge Gerry's role is in its proceedings and are found in, so I found this. So this could be my primary source. We're going to be talking about archives soon, but I can find this source, so I found that. So I can actually read the document records of the proceedings of the Constitutional Congress. I might need to do some research to find out which ones really show off Elbridge Gerry's influence, but I can go ahead and have primary documents, which are great for a historical research, okay? Let's see, what else did I find? I also found some books. Google Books, if you find them in Google Scholar, are really great. These are 2 books I found. They have a lot. Elbridge Gerry's Salamander, The Electoral Consequences of the Reapportionment Revolution. Ooh, what gerrymandering is. Awesome. This is a whole book, right? I can't read all of this book for free, but I can read much of the introduction and lots of the summary information. That could be very good for my resource. Great resource, okay? Awesome. I have all of this available to me. I also found Vice President Elbridge Gerry, the Contrary Patriot. Lots of background information. Now some of the pages are taken out, but this is a chapter in a book, The Trailblazers, the Executives and Events that Transformed the Constitution. Okay, I want you to spend some time using Google Scholar, see what you can find, add in more details, and when you find a title, go back to Google and try to find the resource. If you're having a question, check out the video I will post on checking the credibility of sources. All right, you're going to need to find some resources. Go out there and try. Good luck.